What's going on, everybody? It's me, Shane. I'm here to give you another Heels, excuse me, Heels episode review. Yeah, this episode was episode 3, known as Cheap Heat. And before we get into Cheap Heat, I'll just go ahead and just say, please give me a like, comment, subscribe. Pardon me. It really helps out the channel and lets me know that you guys are enjoying what I'm doing here. So, thank you as always. So, let's get right on into it. As you see, I did not do any wrestling impressions because I want to try to save those. Might pop them in somewhere in there, right? Anyway, um, what is cheap heat? Well, first we got to go down. What is heat? Heat is just generally the response that wrestlers get from fans, whether it's cheers or boos, either way, and just like explained in this episode today by Jack, and it's been said all over. If you're wrestling, the worst thing is for silence. You want them to either cheer you or boo you. And sometimes there are some legitimately bad boos. We'll get into that in a moment. But that's what you want. Now, cheap heat is what's generated by heels generally. Heels can easily get heat, and that's what cheap heat is. Cheap heat is when they go ahead and they insult the crowd. They call them a bunch of idiots. If you're down south, you call them like inbred. You up north, you call them snowflakes or something like that. You can even talk about the home team. The Rock did that when it came to the Lakers and the Sacramento Kings rivalry. Talked about that. Talked about how much the Lakers suck or something like that. It's super easy for heels to get people to boo for them. The only heat that you might not want is called go away heat, aka nuclear heat, aka X-Pac heat. Now, what is that? Nuclear heat, go away heat. I prefer go away heat. It's when the people genuinely hate you as a person, not your character, not your performance. Sometimes it can actually be tied to how you're being booked, but a good example of that is last Monday when for whatever reason Raw decided to they keep bringing back Jake Paul, and no one likes this guy. Genuinely, no one likes him. They love the reaction because people are tuning in to hate him, and that's giving them money, which I wish people would do the reverse. But people genuinely hate him. Like he couldn't even say anything during the segment with John Morrison. As a matter of fact, people cheered The Miz when he came out, even though he is technically the heel in this situation. That's go away heat. Another instance of go away heat that's kind of weird is with John Cena and Roman Reigns before the Roman Reigns heel turn. It's when Roman Reigns was constantly being pushed. Even had the moment when he won WrestleMania, and The Rock is kind of raised his hand like, I can't believe they went with that decision. Or when people are mad that John Cena went from the Doctor of Thugonomics to his cookie cutter good guy thing, which John Cena seems like a genuinely nice person, so he fit right into that thing very well. Nowadays, he gets a little bit of mixed reaction. Some people boo him just because that's a thing to do, and a lot of people cheer him. He's generally welcomed whenever he comes back. Roman Reigns, and now he's fully a heel, so those boos are welcome and easy. Super easy for him now. That's the only time when go away heat has been turned around. Other times, no. Especially with X-Pac, Triple H with the Vicky Vale incident. Look it up if you're over 18. Yeah. So anyway, let's go ahead and just talk about this. I got some notes here. Got some. I got a recap on here to keep me if I forget anything. Um, I find this has more wrestling in it, just like the first episode, which is very much appreciated. It's a wrestling show. That's what it's about. But this is a really good job of showing what goes on in between wrestlers' lives and how people of different walks are enduring this. One of the beginning things is with Bobby. That's the new guy. I keep calling him Rookie. Bobby, he's a bouncer at a strip club. He's calling his parents. At the end of the episode, he's calling his parents. He's thanking them for everything, and he appreciates it. He was in the main event. Now, here's the thing that people probably don't realize. Yeah, there are some people who wrestle because they want those titles, they want the recognition, they want all of it. And there's some people that genuinely just love to wrestle. It is what it is. Bobby is one of those people. He got to main event for the first time, and he was happy about that, ecstatic about that. I genuinely like Bobby, and even there's this little ritual. I guess it's called main event ice, where they give you a Smirnoff, but if it's in your shoe and if you get it without catching them giving it to you, you gotta chug it. He was trying to be nice to Rooster. He put the ice in the urinal and he peed all over, but then he gives him another one at the end of the episode, which genuinely makes Rooster happy. It makes him happy because Rooster just feels, I don't know how to feel about this character now. Because I don't want him to turn on the DWL, but I completely understand where he's coming from. I mean, he's been wrestling since he's 16. Everyone he is Jack even says he's the best wrestler there. He's super athletic, tons of charisma. But the one problem is, he says this to Ace, that the belt looks better on a white backdrop, meaning on a white wrestler. And it looks like he's never really gonna get that recognition, even from Jack, unfortunately. Because Jack's reason or excuse is it doesn't make sense for the storyline right now. And I'm going to be completely honest. You got to start somewhere. One of you genuinely feel in this one, Jack's back is constantly against the wall because he doesn't want the company to crumble. He doesn't want his father's legacy to crumble. As a matter of fact, speaking about Tom King of Spades, oh boy, that opener, uh, just yeah, King Spade. Just spoiler, obviously, the opening scene. This dude go for his run. He fixed up Carol's garden. He did all the things he's supposed to do. And then when he sees a deer in the garden, he goes and gets his gun and he shoots himself on the porch. And it's Ace that finds him. And even Jack brings this up because Ace has an issue with being booed. We'll get to I'll tie that in right now. The whole point of this whole thing is he's in the main event to come back and turn everybody around. Ace wants to be a face, right? He's like, Jack, you're the heel, I'm supposed to be the face. Well, he gets heckled by someone in the crowd. People are throwing ice cream at him. Nice little nod to CM Punk's ice cream. And he's in this episode, but we'll get to that in a moment. He's getting stuff thrown at him. And he's mad. He's yelling at Jack. And Jack's like, look, man, you would be really great as a heel, but you want to be a face. And he's like, no, I'm going to be cheered. You're going to be booed. And I get the feeling Ace does not fucking understand how wrestling works. There is a line. There's a line where you should know the business side and know the inner workings. And then there's another line where it's kayfabe. Or it's my favorite way of saying it, kafabe. Kayfabe. Ace's head is so far up his ass, he is all in the line of kayfabe. He doesn't realize. And Jack, like I said, Jack tells him, whether they're cheering you or booing you, that's great. You want that heat. You need that. And you don't understand that. And it's mind-boggling because at the end of the episode, he feeds into it. After his talk with Rooster, Rooster admits that Jack is right. You'd be great as a heel. You cried in the ring, dude. It doesn't matter. You cry in the ring. They're going to boo you. And he goes with it. And he does a really great job. He looks amazing as a heel. And everyone's giving him props when he comes back. He calls Willie a bitch. He tells Crystal that you're not my girlfriend. And Jack has to say, why would you call her a bitch? What is your problem? He's like, well, that's what you wanted, right? I'm the heel. And I really wanted Jack to smack the taste out of his mouth. Like, that was such a waste for Jack to even apologize. Early in this episode, he fully apologizes for it. And he's hammering it home to his brother. Look, you can go up and be part of the corporate, but you're just going to be a pawn up north. They're really not going to care. Down here, you're the star. You can be a partner in all of this. And it just feels like Ace is just chasing. What am I trying to say? He's chasing after something. And he's the type of person that once he gets it, he's not going to be satisfied. And it's just ridiculous. I just at the end of the episode, you feel a little bit for this jackass. He vapes too, BTW. Doesn't even smoke. He's such a freaking kid. I wish I knew how old Ace was, because he's like a little kid. No offense to anybody that vapes. I'm just saying, smoke a cigarette. Rooster, smoke a cigarette. Smoke a damn cigarette. If you're going to do it, just smoke a cigarette. And he legitimately is just, doesn't realize Crystal cares about him. And we should get into this. He's mad about the Ricky Rabies match that his brother had, his brother's having. He's like, that's the draw. He's like, yeah, that's the draw. You bring people in, they see your main event, and they stay because of you. That is the whole point. And he's also mad because Ricky Rabies does the whole fake blood. They're not gonna generally the DWL. You see blood the hard way. If someone gets hit and bleeding, they're actually hit and bleeding. They usually don't do all that because they're family. You even see some of the corporate side with Jack getting the local preacher who does tons of business, gets his banner. He wants a quote from Revelations on it, which is okay. And he's saying, hey, you invest more, your name could be all the way around that ring apron. And it's just, you get the feeling people are kind of annoyed with the guy because it's small town Georgia. Yeah, people are religious, but then you got those kind of people. Jack literally has to do a song and dance, and that's just kind of what it is when you're a wrestling promoter. But at the same time, that you can still stand on your morals, but sometimes you gotta do some things to get something, right? But let's talk about Ricky Rabies, played by the best in the world, CM Punk. Now the AEW CM Punk. His first wrestling match is actually next Sunday at All Out in Chicago, September 5th, against Darby Allin. I don't think he's gonna win that. If he does win that, I got a feeling they're gonna end up doing a best of three matches. It's really hard. Do you make CM Punk lose or do you let the young guy win? Regardless, CM Punk was great as Ricky Rabies. He reminds he's legitimately an older wrestler that's been around, so you can't do too much. And funny enough, I did watch Stephen Amell and CM Punk have their IG live an hour before the episode aired, and he mentions like they go for DD. The finish was a DDT. Well, that's all they did. A lot of wrestlers who've been doing this for a long time, they do things on the fly. A lot of it's ad libs. So the moves they choose to do, how you take the moves, and everything like that. That's determined in the ring. But you always try to get to that desired finish. But when Ricky Rabies comes down for his elbow, he hurts his leg. And he's like, "Yep, I hurt my knee." He's like, "All right, I got you. Well, we're gonna work this out then." Go around the ring. He finds a way to, you know, hurt him while he's already hurt, and gets him. And he does a great job. It's Ricky Rabies was very thankful. He says you helped him put food on our table, and Jack's like, you're saving my ass too, so thank you. Right, I really do hope to see Ricky Rabies again. And his valet, Vicky Rabies, had a nice little conversation with Crystal saying, you're a valet, you do whatever your guy needs you to do. But Crystal was under the impression that they were together, and they are not together. Ricky has his own wife. That legitimately his son is there. The Ricky Rabies character is hilarious because they had a possum drone. No words. I laughed when I saw the possum drone. I legitimately laughed out loud. But he has his own wife, and Vicky gives the worst advice to Crystal. I have a sandwich for lunch and gummy bears for dinner. You gotta stay skinny. Freaking no. Just gross. I predict if Jack doesn't get his head out of his ass too, and puts on his big boy pants, Crystal's gonna end up leaving. And Crystal actually has talent. Just ridiculous. And when we talk about people leaving, let's get back to Rooster. I said Rooster legitimately had a reason to leave. I have a feeling because he did get a moment to talk to Jack. He's probably gonna leave. Probably not next episode. I give it 2 episodes, and he's gonna leave. That's kind of heartbreaking, but it is what it is. Um, Now another part of this episode is with Stacy. Finally remembered his wife's name, Stacy Spade. Stacy is meeting up with some friends. They're all Southern gals, and I gotta say, Stacy's the best looking one out of all of them. They find out that Jack is actually in charge of the wrestling league when they thought it was just his father's thing. They all want to go, and they only find out because the busboy made all their appetizers and drinks on the house because he is a fan. He he loves the wrestling league. He wanted to get there, but he did it on the house. They get there, they're completely in love. Except she has one friend who kind of talked down to her, said she wants to go to Machu Picchu. Do you know what Machu Picchu? She's like, yeah, I know what Machu Picchu is. And she is a wrestling wife. She understood exactly what was happening when Ace turned heel. She understood all of it. And when she's having a conversation with her husband when they're heading back to go get their son from his grandmother's house, she wants to go to Machu Picchu, but Jack is making tons of excuses. That is, I. There are four characters that they are pushing in your face, saying they're gonna leave. It's certainly Rooster. He's definitely gonna leave. It's Crystal. It's Ace. It's Stacy. Jack is constantly making excuses, but he's emotionally hanging by a thread. And we see that once he comes in and sees his son who fell asleep playing video games in his uncle's room. And he probably at the same time didn't realize, saw that his brother wasn't there either. And he goes out to the same porch where his father killed himself. And he knows his father killed himself there. And he says, Dad, and he starts to cry. This is how our episode ends off. He starts to cry. Meanwhile, Ace is at their father's grave, which very early on with that whole, Dad was a good guy, he was a face thing. Jack said very plainly, if he was such a good guy, he knew you were in the house when he killed himself. Why would he do that? These two, especially Jack, have not dealt with the death of their father at all. They have been go, go, go. And I'm sure we all can can sympathize, empathize with this on some kind of level. I certainly know I can. Sometimes you don't have time to deal with death and you just have to keep trucking. That's just kind of what life is. You take your moment, but you actually need to take your moment to feel those emotions. And especially in the wrestling business, when you're a promoter and Jack is like the DWL is hanging by a thread, he's trying to keep it going. He's trying to pay everybody and keep everyone happy. He has the most pressure, and it's sad because you can tell that Jack knows it's unfair what's going on with Stacy. Like he knows he would love. He's always tired. He always brings it up when he's home that he's tired, but he's for as angry as he is at his father for taking his own life, he's really trying to honor his memory, which is quite interesting. Um, that's about how Tom died. That's about Crystal's fate because she ends up, before Ace's match, she gives him some, they have sex and everything, and she calms him down because he's upset. But then he goes around and just flips on her. I don't know what her fate is either. Are we talking about how much I love Bobby? But yeah, guys, it's yeah. This show keeps bringing me back, and the hook they have now, which I love how this show does its plot hooks. During I think Ace's heel turn match, Billy, the jackass that left and went up north, there's a video out of him on a plane and his thing is all out, and he's up here trying to get some help from Willie. Bill's trying to get help from Willie, and that was sprinkled perfectly in the episode because he messed up big time. Even I said, oh, he done effed up. He done effed up. Because if he's working with a company that's WWE esque, they don't play that. They sweep that stuff on the rug. Either they tell you to stay out of sight, or you get your walking papers quickly. And next episode, I'm really hoping that Willie isn't physically harmed. It seems like the catalyst for everything having fall down, everything falling to pieces, is Tom's death. At this show's crux, yes, this is a wrestling show, but at the show's crux, it is legitimately how this nucleus family, how this family of families that are in wrestling, even including I hate Bill with all my heart. I hate him, but Bill is included in this. So is Willie, because I believe she was Tom's partner before she was Jack's partner. Is how all these people are dealing with the death of Tom the King Spade. Excuse me. DWL is going down. Another promotion is rising up because of what happened there. It is it's almost like a fantasy. You know, some fantasy stories or even some D&D campaigns start off, the king has died. This is the fallout. Literally, the king has died. Here is the fallout. And it's a star show, so there's no way in the first season that we're going to get people who are emotionally, at least somewhat emotionally stable towards the end. I'm just hoping that not too many people leave Jack. I really hope Stacy doesn't leave Jack. And that's probably going to happen if he doesn't stop his Vince McMahon ways. But please, tell me what you thought of this episode. I generally give like out of 5, but this series has been really good so far. Like I would give first episode a 5. I get the last episode a 5. This gets a 5. I'll let you guys know when an episode does badly because this thing is keeping me hooked. But again, what do you think of the episodes? Are you enjoying like this inside look of what's going on, beyond the ring, what's going on in these people's lives? Like stuff is going on during the live shows, things are going on with family, and it's really hammering home how the loss of one person will trickle down into many things. And it's different characters in here too. The one character that's very interesting is Ace. Very immature in his thoughts, worried about being cheered and booed, and I'm starting to wonder if that has to deal with the image he had of his father. Only time will tell. So, as always, please comment, give me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, be notified of more videos like this. I'm doing heels every Sunday, baby. Kofi Kingston for you. Please share the video so other people can see, what a great conversation we're having. Give you guys a little sprinkle of what's going on in the real wrestling world. Give you a sprinkle of some terminology and give you a whole lot of good reviews. Thank you for showing up. Please be good, be blessed, wash your hands, wear a mask. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Please don't be a jerk. Don't be that guy. Don't get that cheap heat. And I will definitely see you next time, brother. Oh yeah, I forgot one thing. Oh. The Cuban wrestler. He's pretty funny. He's pretty intelligent. When Rooster calls Jack a dumb dick, he says anybody can be a dumb dick, but it's not really associated with gender. It just happens to be who that dick is attached to. Very funny. See you next time.